On with the tale of the Night Serene. Following their first trip into the forest, which was harrowing, it means scary. Their next trip was to find the living vines. They got the location from a passing merchant. With a clear idea where to find them, the knights and their companions travelled back to Lungerford. Good tidings arrived from the kingdom. A messenger reported that Sirius the Conjurer, Oobla the Knight, Slowblink the Rogue, Brother Marcel the Mad Doctor and others were setting out to join Sir Felix. Sir Galindo's companions also were preparing to leave. They included Don Arturo, a knight-errant and a hulk of a man. He was the pale-skinned, blonde, blue-eyed man you may have heard of as a former comrade of Galindo and Felix. Then there was Ximena the Tracker, a raven-haired huntswoman from Galindo's family estates, and possibly former lover. And of course El Commodin the Rogue, aka the Joker. He was a middle-aged, ugly, dishevelled criminal-turned-thief-catcher who worked for Galindo's family. Look now at the map of the Great Forest. You will see the crater in the middle, then a ring of blasted trees. Only a little life can be found here, just shoots and saplings, even years after the comet's impact. The next ring is the burned zone, where fires ravaged the trees and scoured the elven buildings, including the fabled tree houses. Surrounding it is the standing zone, which mostly survived the cataclysm and recovered quickest. The trees were a bit thinner there, but now it is dense as any forest. The edge zone was unaffected when the meteor hit. The map lacks scale and is more of an idea of Redhollow than an accurate representation, conjured as it is from rumour, half-truths, and the ravings of those who ventured too deep. The meteor crashed to Earth in the southwest of the massive forest. There are still miles of unaffected woodland north and east, which is mostly unpopulated, by people, if not monsters. The only place to find ember gems is the area devastated by the meteor. The crater, the blasted zone, the burned zone, and the standing zone. Some small treasure can still be found in the edge zone, but you'd be lucky to discover even one ember gem there. Expeditions to the deeper forest are rewarded with more treasure, ember gems, and danger. A dungeon known as the Roots of Redhollow is beneath the blasted, burned, and standing zones. The settlements nearby are all within a day's travel of the edge of the forest. Rocksnarl is to the north, the Ochre Cliffs to the east. Smoke and Fog is on the edge of the Swamp of Meandering Shades to the southeast. Lungerford is to the south. Aigil Con Ash, to the west, is near a tributary of the Ash River, which runs through the forest, its blackened branches joining to eventually empty into the swamp. Now let us hear from the Scribe, who can tell us firsthand about our hero's second trip into Redhollow.
Since Tempest the Firehound stubbornly refused to go, this is where I come into the story. But a young lad then, I was no more than a dirty orphan pulled up from a distant gutter by Sir Felix. He always said he saw a glint of determination in my eye. I had accompanied them on the first trip, but took no part in the fighting, instead being assigned to guard the packs, and watching wide-eyed the fight with the bandits. I remember how heavy the axe felt in my hand. It feels more at home in my old hands now than it ever did, though I was much stronger then. Anyway, I was determined to show my worth to both of the Knights Serene. My lord had ordered me to exercise, practice, and drill, and that I did. Under their tutelage, I grew more confident and skilled at arms. No longer was I to guard the packs. I was a companion of a knight. After our first trip, we spoke with a merchant who travelled around the forest, sometimes under the boughs and eaves of the trees themselves. The merchant, Isadra Windchaser by name, may have had elven heritage. She certainly knew the land well, and traded finished goods, like tools and kitchen utensils, for furs and dried food. The knights, eager for better understanding of the perils ahead, met her outside Lungerford. My lord's legendary diplomacy skills weren't yet fully developed, and to Isadra, information was a commodity to be traded like anything else. But for a price, they learned of a place where the vines of the forest themselves held treasure. Isadra warned how adventurers, blinded by greed, often scrambled eagerly up into the vines, only to discover they were hungry for warm blood. The vines still lurk, stronger than ever with stolen vitality, and luring the unwary with the accumulated treasure of fools. Somewhere in the hoard was said to be a book containing secrets of Redhollow, though Asadra could not say if this was anything more than ale-fueled tavern fancy. With the location marked on their map, and my lord's purse lighter than he would have liked, the knights parted with the merchant and returned to Lungerford. On the outskirts they had set up base in an old tower, now a ruin, but with, as Sir Galindo put it, good strong bones. The foundations were stone, and its oak beams solid, though it lacked a roof. It was in sight of the grubby stain of the town, but far enough away to be safe. Each of the party picked a corner for their bedrolls, and they set a watch. Occasional forays to Lungerford's market or inn drew dark looks, but no outward threat. Remember, the bandits had come from the town, though none seemed to much lament their demise. Taking everything they owned with them, my lords struck out to find what the vines may hide. We set our first camp under the eaves of the forest as usual. This was the edge zone, according to my master's map. Sir Felix saw my fascination as he studied it, and by the flickering light of the campfire began explaining to me the secret of writing. He was surprised when I showed a natural aptitude, though in truth I wanted to be a warrior more than a scribe. The others spent the evening sharpening already razor-edged weapons and making minor repairs to their equipment. We wanted to be ready. Felix, with Dankworth in support, advanced and attacked a vine. Alas, the vine came out on top, and only Felix's ability to roll with the punches prevented him suffering serious damage. Exploring the environment, Galindo found a rare elven book. Opening this book caused a fey breeze to waft through the trees. All the heroes felt refreshed. Valentin and Alfonso stayed close to Galindo. Dankworth hacked at a vine in defense of his master, and that subdued it. It stiffened and looked climbable. Both archers, Rook and Isabella, shot at the moving vines but missed. The vine's camouflage appeared to affect their aim. Galindo fended off a vine attack, thanks to Valentin's and Alfonso's support. Throughout this mission, Galindo resolutely ignored the gnome's curse from last trip. At the end of the turn, Roots attacked Dankworth, who failed to evade them. They emitted a pungent odour that seemed to attract all the malevolent fauna and flora in the area. Felix climbed a dead vine and found treasure. It was harder than it looked, and he only just made it. Dankworth and I held our position to defend Felix. Rook tried another shot at a vine, but missed yet again. Alfonso ran to support his master Galindo, who then cut down a vine. Meanwhile, Valentin struck at a spider, only to receive a nasty bite, leaving him poisoned. The spider attacked Valentin again, and for the second mission in a row, Valentin was down. Another spider attacked Dankworth, but its fangs failed to penetrate his armor. Isabella shot the spider that downed Valentin and slew it. Revenge! At the end of the turn, crawling moss dropped onto Alfonso, but he shook it off before it could invade his nostrils or mouth. Phew, what might have happened if it succeeded? Rook shot at a vine, but once more missed. Aren't elves supposed to be good with bows? Somewhere in the melee, a giant spider scrambled forward and was cut down. Felix, Dankworth and I charged another vine. Overzealous, I rushed my attack, and was knocked down by the vicious vine. I still bear the scar on my scalp. Dankworth tried, but his blade didn't breach the vine's tough bark. Felix demonstrated his skill, and struck the vine hard enough that it quit moving. I would view the rest of the battle through the blood running down my forehead. Galindo wisely fireballed a pack of wolves that had run out of the forest. One wolf was engulfed outright, and two others were very badly wounded. The last managed to escape unaffected, with only some singed fur. The undamaged wolf raced forwards, leapt at Dankworth, but impaled itself on the squire's sword. At the end of the turn, Galindo spied a large moving mushroom the size of a halfling walking, even ambling, by the clearing. Thanks to his inner strength, he resisted the sudden urge to follow it. Where would that have led in this weird wood? Felix and Dankworth attacked a wolf and cut it to pieces. Its pelt definitely held no value now. Galindo, with Alfonso, attacked and overpowered a vine. Another vine attacked Felix, but was chopped down. The last wolf launched itself at Dankworth, who managed to duck and slice open its belly. Rook shot a vine, ending its squirming. At last, his eye was in. Isabella climbed a vine and found treasure. At the end of the turn, Felix disturbed the lair of a trapdoor spider, just like last trip. Felix, flanked by Dankworth, attacked and killed the spider using his fast reflexes. Isabella and Alfonso advanced, exploring. Galindo climbed a dead vine and found more treasure. Rook tried to climb a dead vine, but slipped back down. It was definitely not his day. At the end of the turn, one of the frequent clouds of mist which rise without warning from the ground in Redhollow billowed across the clearing, affecting only Isabella and Alfonso. Felix climbed the dead vine that was too difficult for Rook and found some farlight leaf and a large gold leaf as big as his palm. It looked like it went with something else. He got the sense it's like a key. It has a purpose, so he kept it. Rook tried to climb another one, but failed again. Should have stayed in bed. Dankworth showed him how it's done and found the treasure. Galindo continued to explore, as did Isabella and Alfonso. At the end of the turn, two greedy creatures heard the commotion and scuttled along to join the feast. The giant spiders smelled blood. Rook tried once more to climb a dead vine and finally succeeded, receiving some treasure. Felix found a bag holding two old blackened wooden statues, possibly to hold up books on a shelf. Then he noticed little panels in each that covered hiding places. Though not immediately useful, he knew they could be traded later. Galindo found an old safe inside the building, within a crumbling wall. He spotted a loose, rusting wire, with some lingering electric danger, so he disarmed the trap. Then, with his ability to focus, Galindo deftly picked the lock to find treasure. The spiders advanced with speed on the party. Isabella shot one of the spiders. The arrow hit, but didn't dissuade its advance. Alfonso and Dankworth stayed near Galindo, in case he ran into trouble. Rook was preoccupied restringing his bow. At the end of the turn, two giant snakes arrived. More creatures attracted by all the spilt blood. With a frenzied attack, Felix boldly launched himself at a giant snake, the hand of fate ensuring a hit before his next flashing blade hurt it further. Rook shot the other snake, embedding an arrow deep in the snake's body, but not felling it. Galindo dispatched a spider. Isabella shot a spider, but the arrow deflected off its chitinous legs. The snake swerved and struck back at Felix, but he dodged to match and slashed the snake's body. Hurt, but still not dead. The other snake sprang at Felix with its fangs, but met the fighter's shield. Another spider attacked Galindo, but was impaled as the knight pirouetted out of the way. Dankworth ran to Felix's aid, whilst Alfonso returned to his master. At the end of the turn, another giant spider appeared. On the far edge of the glade, Felix, with Dankworth in support, killed one snake. Then Dankworth felled the other. In the mossy turf, Galindo spotted a strangely preserved dwarf body, long dead but not skeletal, probably an adventurer. As he investigated it, the board on which it rested cracked and broke. The body began to slide into the well beneath it. He only had a moment to snatch an item, but which? A bracelet, an axe, or a hip flask? Galindo grabbed the hip flask before the well cover collapsed and the corpse was lost in the foul-smelling depths. A spider sank its fangs into Alfonso, who bit back, his powerful jaws finally clearing the field. Valentin made a full recovery, and seemed to be no worse for the wear. We found many treasures on the trip, much better than the previous, though still no sign of an ember gem. The hip flask Galindo recovered was a potion of toughness. We found both heavy and light armor of brightness, an explosive cocktail, some ironbark powder, a farlight leaf, a golden leaf, a light throwing knife, and a two-handed sword of blocking, which no one uses. Still, a good haul. Although my injuries were treated by Rook, and I also fully recovered, I was ashamed at my failure, and I wouldn't be surprised if my lord chose more able companions on the next trip.
Our hero's adventure has begun in earnest as they encountered the living vines, which offered but a taste of the wood's dangers. We'll continue to tell the story of Lords Felix and Galindo next time, as they locate the giant stone known as Braxton. Thank you, goodbye, and come back soon for more Tales of Redhollow.